Thanks for joining us for CBN NewsWatch. I'm Charlene Aaron. The news media has preempted today's Democratic presidential primaries, declaring Hillary Clinton the winner. The Associated Press says Clinton has all the delegates needed to secure the Democratic nomination. But as Caitlin Burke reports, Bernie Sanders isn't quitting, and he's pushing for a lasting impact on the Democratic Party, especially when it comes to Israel.
Hillary Clinton has the 2,383 delegates needed to clinch the Democratic nomination, according to the Associated Press. Superdelegates putting her over the top before today's primaries even started.
We have a really important election now.
Still, Clinton urged voters to head to the polls in the 6 states set to vote today, including the biggest, California.
We're going to come out of the primary even stronger to take on Donald Trump.
Bernie Sanders' campaign is accusing the media of rushing to judgment, saying in a statement, it's wrong to count the votes of superdelegates before they actually vote at the convention this summer. Secretary Clinton does not have and will not have the requisite number of pledged delegates to secure the nomination. The superdelegates won't actually vote until July 25th. And Sanders promises to spend the time until then convincing them that he is the stronger candidate. Sanders may be on his way out, whether he's ready to admit it or not, but he's leaving a lasting impact, pushing the Democratic Party left on economic issues and trying to change the party's platform on Israel. Sanders would like to include in the platform explicit references to the Israeli occupation of Palestinian lands, recognizing Palestine's right to statehood. He's already named some pro-Palestinian representatives to the platform committee, including those who support the BDS movement, which stands for Boycott, Divestment, and Sanctions, a movement critics say aims to delegitimize Israel itself. Pro-Israel Democrats say that changes in the party's platform on Israel would be dead on arrival, but there are some indication that the party's grassroots activists are already moving toward the Palestinian side and away from Israel. A recent Pew Research Center analysis shows that for the first time in a decade, the percentage of liberal Democrats sympathizing with Palestinians is greater than those sympathizing with Israel. That division could ultimately lead to a fight at the Democratic convention to determine where the party's support lies. But even if that doesn't happen, the split could be an indication that the Democrats could be moving towards more support for Palestinians and possibly less for Israel in the future. Caitlin Burke, CBN News.
Tropical storm Colin made landfall just before midnight, drenching much of Florida with heavy rains. High wind gusts, rains, and thunderstorms swept across many parts of the state, forcing Governor Rick Scott to declare a state of emergency Monday. Tropical force rains have also pounded Georgia and South Carolina. Meanwhile, Operation Blessing is helping flood victims in Texas. Historic flooding in the Lone Star State has been deadly and has forced many from their homes. Operation Blessing is now on the scene to help the victims.
A truckload of food and hygiene items arrived today to help these residents with some of the essential items that they lost. And our convoy of equipment will be arriving tomorrow as we prepare to coordinate volunteers to help gut homes and help get things cleaned up.
Operation Blessing is also offering prayer and comfort to those in the region. Authorities have decided not to file charges against the parents of the boy who fell into the gorilla enclosure at the Cincinnati Zoo. Animal rights supporters have been outraged that zoo officials chose to shoot the gorilla to save the boy. Some of them have called for the boy's mother to be charged, but the prosecutor says the mom did nothing wrong.
She was being attentive to her children by all witness accounts, and the 3-year-old just scampered off. And if anyone doesn't believe a 3-year-old can scamper off very quickly, they've never had kids.
Prosecutor says the zoo did lose a beautiful animal, but he points out a gorilla is still an animal and is not equal to a human life. A group of modern-day Christian abolitionists are using a world-famous garden show to raise awareness on the issue of modern-day slavery. Dale Hurd reports from London.
A modern slavery exhibit at the world-famous Chelsea Flower Show in London might seem like a stretch, but it was an idea sent from God in a dream, according to Mirabel Galvin, who is a modern-day Christian abolitionist.
He literally spoke to me about slavery in a dream. So then I've been saying, what can I do? How can I best serve in this area? And I also had another dream. I believe in a God who speaks through dreams, and he gave me a dream about doing a garden which spoke about modern slavery.
We caught up with Mirabelle's designer, Juliette Sargent, as she was working hard to put the finishing touches on the display.
I wanted to emphasize the fact that modern slavery is a crime that's hidden. Whereas old slavery was acceptable for one person to own another person. These days it is illegal, so it's a hidden crime behind closed doors. And I thought the easiest way to do that was simply to have some doors in the garden. So there are front doors, typical English front doors, standing upright in the garden. And they are brightly coloured with lovely planting around the front of them. But then behind those doors, in the centre of the garden, it represents the captive space of modern slaves. So it's dark and there's no plant life.
The modern slavery garden is meant to raise awareness that there are 27 million slaves in the world today. The challenge in fighting the modern slavery movement is that it is largely unseen, out of sight and out of mind.
So whether people are working in brothels or nail bars, cannabis farms, agricultural, domestic, all these forms of slavery are largely hidden.
Mirabelle is urging Christians to find out if there is slavery in the supply chain of products they purchase by taking a photo of the product and asking the manufacturer through social media with a hashtag Ask the Question.
And obviously one person asking the question isn't a big deal. It's not much pressure on a company. But if 10,000 people are, or a whole army of people are asking the question of a company, is there slavery in your supply chain? Obviously, they're going to have to pay attention.
We're happy to report that Mirabelle and Juliette's Modern Slavery Garden was awarded a gold medal. Dale Hurt, CBN News, London.
For the first time in 200 years, a team of experts has started renovations on a site that some say was the tomb of Jesus. The project is happening in the Church of the Holy Sepulchre, a site believed to house Christ's empty tomb. Experts hope they can uncover history in the holy place.
It is a holy place. There are layers of history, of human constructions and reconstructions around and above the Holy Tomb of Christ. And what we are expecting to do is to document and monitor all these layers of history, which are giving material to scholars from various institutions around the globe. And this is a challenge to everybody.
The project is expected to cost about $3.3 million US. A man in New York is showing off his memorization skills across the country. He has committed 20 books of the Bible to memory. That's about a third of the King James Version. Tom Meyer travels the country performing a unique one-person show where he recites memorized scripture. Generally, he presents one book per appearance. His most popular requests are the book of Genesis and Revelation. He says he started memorizing scripture as a bored kid in church.
I would just read the famous stories in the Bible and just be amazed at how beautiful they were and how interesting they were with just the words themselves.
Tom says his main mission in memorizing scripture is to inspire people. Coming up, how the success of gay activists in the U.S. is fueling the gay movement in China. See how the church is responding with love and truth. Well, last year's Supreme Court decision on legalizing same-sex marriage is having an impact beyond the shores of the United States. Now, change in America is bringing increased demands for social acceptance in China. Mingfei Li has the story.
The Chinese LGBT community is changing society. According to China's health department, there are approximately 3 million male homosexuals in the country. That number is expected to rise rapidly. Most older Chinese people believe gay marriage is shameful to the family. They believe gay marriage devalues traditional Chinese culture.
There is no way I can accept this. happy marriages should only happen between a man and a woman. No law should change that.
However, millennials in Beijing express cheerful acceptance and positive support. They believe any type of true love should be honored. No one has the right to bring judgment upon others.
I don't understand why some Chinese people can't accept it. It is honored in the United States today. That's why people want to go to the US to protect their true love.
Damin has been a strong advocate for the Chinese LGBT community for the past 17 years. He says the U.S. Supreme Court decision is encouraging to the LGBT community.
Many of our members are thrilled about this news. It gives tremendous hope to our members.
Despite the news, Damon mentions members within the LGBT group in China are slowly fighting through some major obstacles. For example, 2 Chinese young men from Changsha province failed to get a marriage license. They held a huge wedding ceremony to show their true love to the world.
Many of them are still struggling for social acceptance. People have no idea how challenging it is. Our members went through many counseling sessions just to learn how to tell the truth to their own family members. Knowing the changes happening in the U.S., we are confident the Chinese LGBT will have a better future.
With the ongoing debate, leaders from Chinese churches are eager to share their views. For the first time in history, gay marriages are openly discussed among Chinese Christians. The Chinese church leaders want to point the congregation in the right direction.
It is important to address this issue right now. We want to make it clear that we don't teach hatred within the messages. As Jesus said, we ought to love one another, hate the sin, not the sinners.
China's gay activists are increasingly pushing for change that could very well reach every corner of Chinese society. Meanwhile, Chinese churches will continue to challenge their congregations to join the discussion. Some churches are even willing to host open discussions with LGBT members to help them find the truth. Chinese churches clarify it is more just winning the argument. It's about exchanging views and understanding truths. For CBN News, Mengfei Li.
Up next, she's America's #1 comedian. Funny woman Chonda Pierce remembers the time when she was laughing in the dark. When we return. Chonda Pierce has won more awards than any other woman in comedy. But not long ago, laughter wasn't easy for the Christian comedian. She battled depression, tragedy, and loss, just as a film crew began following her life story. Ephraim Graham sat down with her for a look at her life as she returns to the comedy circuit.
I married a man, I did my part. 31 years I've been married to the same man. Don't clap, you don't know him.
Chonda Pierce has been serving up laughter to sellout crowd after sellout crowd for many years.
When did you know you were funny?
Oh, dear Lord. I don't know. My mother used to get tickled at me when she was trying to spank me. If I could make her laugh, she would forget why she's spanking me. So early on, it's a defense mechanism as a kid. And then as I look back in college, I was a theater arts major, and so I was always prone to audition for the funny roles instead of the leading lady, romantic stuff. I wanted whatever's going to make the crowd laugh. And so I had a tendency to lean that way without even knowing there was such a thing as a stand-up comedian,
She began her comedy career imitating Minnie Pearl at Opryland Theme Park after college.
Can you still do Minnie Pearl?
Oh, yeah, you ready?
Yes.
Howdy! And I love it. I still love it, Got dogs still bark and howl, but I still love it, yeah.
Chonda's come a long way since those good old days. In fact, she's the leading female comic in the country.
For the first time in 31 years, he sleeps better than he's ever slept in his life. He will suck the walls through his nostrils. Which is my dream as a young child. Just when I grow up and marry a rootin' pig someday.
How do you become the most awarded female comic?
You put a lot of hours in on the road, that's for sure. You know, I will never forget the day that I got a call or a letter from the RIAA, the people that give you gold records and platinum DVDs and all that. And they had a little function for me in Nashville, and I went and got my little award. And I told the man going, I just find this so hard to believe. There's so many wonderful comics out there. And they go, I know, we didn't know who you were either. Oh, no. That just humbles you really quick.
Her audiences, often church groups, have made her the queen of clean.
Is it difficult to be clean and funny?
I don't think it is. Now, I've never had to clean up my mouth too much. You know, I grew up in the Bible Belt, in a holiness denomination, and a preacher's kid. I couldn't string a ton of cuss words together if I tried. Well, I probably could if I got really, really mad. But it was just not in my, you know, it wasn't in my upbringing. It's not even in my, back in the recesses of my mind. If I stub my toe, I'm going to say fiddlesticks, you know, or ouch. And so it's not that it's been hard to stay clean. It's been hard to make a name for yourself in the comedy world. Being a clean comic.
Looking to expand her reach a few years ago, Chonda's team decided to produce a documentary on her life.
A lot happened during that I'm sure you did not anticipate when the camera started rolling.
No, we did not. We got a totally different movie than I think what we were going to go after.
Good morning. Doug from your family-friendly morning show with some sad news to report. Our dear friend, Christian comedian Chonda Pierce's husband of 31 years, David Pierce, died following emergency brain surgery on Tuesday night. Our thoughts and prayers go out to Chonda and to their 2 children, Shara and Zach. Chonda has been posting regular updates on her Facebook page, and Tuesday night, her post simply read, "David is home."
While filming, Chonda also lost her mother and opened up about her husband's battle with alcohol.
I didn't drink in high school. I didn't drink in college. I didn't drink for the first 20 years of our marriage. And it was a vicious cycle.
Death puts a lot of things in perspective. The recognition that you can't do anything over. You know, you can't change anything, or you can never say another word to that human being again. That'll change you.
And the documentary is called Laughing in the Dark.
My personal life took such a turn that the story became about surviving and God's grace in the middle of tragedy, you know, and how do you hold on to God, and how do you tell the world that Jesus is good when everything is falling apart, and how do you do that, and how do you keep making a living as a comic when your mother passes and you're struggling with your kids and your husband passes? How do you do that, you know? And so that's kind of what the movie became, is how do you laugh even in the dark?
In sharing her life, Chonda is open about battling depression.
When I watched that movie, when I saw it on the big screen, I remember watching it going, wow, that young lady has been through so much. And I am so proud of her. You know, it's almost felt like an out-of-body experience. So what I'm hoping is, now that it's released on DVD and people can watch it in a more intimate setting than on a great big screen, my prayer is that it does open a dialogue about addiction and depression and separation and anxiety and depression, you know, all those things that we have a tendency to not want to talk about as Christians.
Chonda will also keep talking about them now that she's back on the road doing comedy.
One of my favorite comedians, Lucille Ball, said, "I'm not funny. What I am is brave." I stand in front of thousands of women each night and open up my life to them. I share about my pain, my depression, the struggles in my own life, with a few jokes thrown in here and there. We laugh together, we cry together, we're telling each other stories, we're sharing the same life. I don't know if that makes me brave, but I do know it makes me blessed.
Ephraim Graham, CBN News, Nashville, Tennessee.
This remarkable documentary about Chonda Pierce is called Laughing in the Dark, and you can find out how to buy it and the Bible study that goes along with it by going to cbnnews.com. Since the establishment of the State of Israel, millions of Jews have moved there, like Elon and Hannah Wagner and their 5 children. After the Wagners moved from the United States, they found it hard to make a living in their new home. They even had a tough time putting food on the table until they opened their door to CBN Israel.
Alon and Hannah Wagner are Messianic Jews who immigrated to Jerusalem from the United States with their children.
We really wanted to be in the center of God's will, and we knew that that was His will for us to return to Jerusalem, to Israel.
They tried to start a cleaning business like the one they had in America, but soon wound up in debt.
In the beginning, I thought it's going to be like in the States, but here is difficult because the money that I make, that was not enough.
It was just a lot of stress in adapting to the culture, to the country. It was a lot of mixed emotions.
The Wagners kept working and believing God would help them, but there were days when they struggled to get by.
There was a few times that we didn't have enough for the food or to cover our bills.
Sometimes my wife said, we don't have nothing to eat. So that was very hard for me.
That's when a friend from their Messianic congregation told them about CBN Israel. First, we made sure the family had enough food to make it through this tough time. Then we met with the Wagners and taught them how to manage their business better. We even got them a professional floor polisher so they can do larger, better-paying jobs.
They buy me the machine, and thank God, I use the machine and I make money. We can live better, and we can give a testimony to the others.
We are very grateful to CBN and to this ministry that has blessed us so much. My prayer is that you will receive 100 times what you are pouring in this ministry and in this land to help the families. That the God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob will bless you abundantly, Yeshua HaMashiach. Amen.
Absolutely wonderful to see that CBN is working in the lives of people in Israel and around the world. Well, that's going to do it for now on CBN NewsWatch. You can find more of our exclusive coverage of the issues you care most about at cbnnews.com. Tell us what you think about the stories you've seen here. You can do that on Facebook or at CBN News on Twitter. Hope you'll join us next time. Have a great day. God bless.